Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. And, today we're really shining a light, and I mean that literally on Danpal. They make some really amazing architectural systems using polycarbonate panels.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're talking structures that let in natural light
Right.
in some incredible ways. I mean, think beyond like your typical skylight.
Yeah.
And get this, they've got projects everywhere from the Jerusalem Zoo to like potentially a future Mars habitat.
Wow.
But this isn't just about like cool buildings.
Right.
This is also a story of a company's perseverance in a location that's faced some really serious challenges.
What I find so fascinating about Danpal is their dedication to not just building materials,
Right.
but to really innovating how we actually use natural light in design.
Yeah.
And you're right, their story becomes even more compelling when you consider their location in Kibbutz Dan in the Upper Galilee, a region that's seen its share of conflict, especially over this past year.
It's pretty unbelievable when you think about it. I was going over these articles and it really hit me. This isn't just like some business case study.
Right.
It's a testament to human resilience.
Yeah.
Danpal has been around since 1981.
Wow.
That's over 30 years of expertise.
Okay.
And they've got over 40 branches worldwide.
Wow.
But imagine like trying to run a global company while dealing with like, the realities of war.
It's almost unfathomable, isn't it, to be focused on innovation and creating these beautiful light-filled structures while also facing that level of daily uncertainty and danger.
And danger, exactly.
But from what I've gathered, Danpal and its employees didn't just like shut down or wait it out.
Yeah.
They showed a remarkable dedication.
Yeah.
Continuing to work even under those incredibly stressful conditions.
It really makes you think about like the kind of company culture that fosters that level of loyalty. Like, you're literally talking about people showing up to work knowing there's a very real threat overhead.
And this is where I think understanding the context of Kibbutz Dan becomes so important.
Yeah.
The kibbutz movement itself has a history of communal living and shared responsibility. And you can kind of see how those values might have played a role in Danpal's story.
So we've established that Danpal is pretty extraordinary.
Right.
Both in terms of like their architectural innovations and their resilience.
Yeah.
So let's get into like the nitty gritty. What exactly is polycarbonate?
Okay.
And why is it such a game changer in the construction world?
Polycarbonate is a type of plastic that's incredibly strong, lightweight, and crucially for Danpal, excellent at transmitting light. Think of it like a super-powered version of the plastic you might find in a water bottle. But engineered to be used in building materials.
So it's like they're taking something we usually think of as disposable and turning it into these impressive, durable structures.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
And it ties into that whole sustainability angle that's becoming so important these days in architecture, right?
Exactly. Danpal's success is partly because they're tapping into this global shift towards sustainable building. Polycarbonate's lightweight means less energy is needed to transport and install it. Plus, Danpal systems are designed to maximize natural light, which reduces a building's reliance on artificial lighting. And can even help with temperature regulation.
Oh, wow.
It's a win-win for both aesthetics and energy efficiency.
So not only are they creating beautiful structures, but they're also helping to create buildings that are more environmentally friendly.
Exactly.
Okay, so now I'm even more intrigued. Let's talk about what they actually create.
Okay.
I was watching some of their YouTube videos. And they've got this system called Danpal Kinetic. It uses moving panels. And it's like the building comes alive with light.
Danpal Kinetic is a great example of how they're pushing the boundaries of what's possible. Not only does it create these amazing visual effects, but it also serves a practical purpose. The moving panels can adjust to control the amount of light and shade entering a space, which contributes to a building's overall energy efficiency.
It's like they've taken the concept of a skylight and turned it into a dynamic piece of art that's also functional.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And it speaks to Danpal's focus on not just letting light in, but on really thinking about how light interacts with the space.
Right.
And how we can use it to create different experiences.
Okay, I'm hooked. What else are they doing that's pushing the envelope in architecture?
Well, they have this system called Danpal Control Light. And it's like a super smart daylighting system.
Oh, wow.
It actually adjusts automatically based on like the position of the sun and even how much light is already inside the building.
Wait, so the building is basically thinking for itself when it comes to lighting?
It is.
That's wild.
It really is.
Okay.
It's a testament to how Danpal is incorporating technology into their designs.
Yeah.
It's not just about like static panels anymore.
Right.
They're creating systems that respond to their environment.
That's incredible.
Which, of course, plays a huge role in energy efficiency,
Yeah.
minimizing waste and making the building as comfortable as possible for the people inside.
Okay, so that's seriously impressive. It's like they're taking inspiration from nature itself, with the building almost breathing as it adjusts to the light.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
But what about those of us who are, shall we say, less interested in cutting-edge tech?
Sure.
And more focused on good old-fashioned coziness?
Well, even there, Danpal has something to offer.
Okay.
They have a system called Dampatherm K12, which focuses on high insulation.
Okay.
So you get all the benefits of natural light, but with a system that also helps regulate temperature and keep the building warm.
So it's like giving your building a warm, fuzzy coat that also happens to look amazing.
Exactly.
I can get behind that.
Yeah.
But, you know, I keep coming back to this idea that Danpal is located in a region that's experienced so much conflict in recent years, and yet they're producing these incredibly innovative, beautiful systems that bring light into the world.
Yeah.
It's like a powerful metaphor, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. You have this company based in Kibbutzden, a place that's deeply rooted in communal values and a history of perseverance. And even while facing the daily threat of war, sirens blaring, missiles flying overhead,
They're crazy.
They're focused on bringing light both literally and figuratively to the world.
It's like their work takes on this whole other layer of meaning when you consider the context, right?
Absolutely. It's a testament to the human spirit, to our ability to create beauty and innovation, even in the face of adversity. It makes you wonder how their experience has shaped their design philosophy, their company culture.
Right. Imagine the kind of bond that's forged when you and your colleagues are literally working under fire.
Oh, yeah.
All striving towards a common goal. It must be incredibly powerful.
I imagine it would foster a deep sense of camaraderie, of resilience, and perhaps even a greater appreciation for the simple beauty of light.
I bet.
Yeah.
And now with the conflict finally at an end, things are starting to return to a sense of normalcy in the region.
Right.
But that period of working under such extreme pressure, that's become part of their story, part of their DNA.
Exactly. It's woven into the fabric of who they are as a company.
Yeah.
And as they continue to grow and expand, I have no doubt that experience will continue to inform their work and their approach to design.
It's a reminder that even in the darkest of times, human ingenuity and the desire to create something positive can shine through.
It really is.
But let's not get too carried away with the philosophical side of things. We've talked about their resilience, their innovative systems, this remarkable location.
Right.
What about the impact they're having on the world of architecture? Are they just some niche company?
Right.
Or are they really making waves?
They're absolutely making waves. Remember how we talked about Danpal receiving a green standard certification in Israel for their environmental innovations? That's not just a symbolic pat on the back.
Right.
It's recognition that they're truly leading the way in sustainable building practices.
Wow.
And their influence goes far beyond Israel.
Right. You've piqued my curiosity. Give me some concrete examples. How are they actually influencing architecture?
Okay.
And not just in terms of sustainability, but in terms of pushing boundaries.
Right.
Creating new possibilities with design.
Well, one of their most fascinating projects is their involvement in designing a potential habitat for astronauts on Mars.
Wait, seriously? From the Jerusalem Zoo to a Mars habitat?
It is.
That's a pretty impressive range.
It is. It speaks to their ambition, their willingness to tackle challenges that others might shy away from. Right. Think about the specific problems you'd have to solve in designing a structure for Mars: limited natural light, extreme temperatures, the need for self-sufficiency. It's like a giant puzzle. And Danpal is right there figuring out how to make those pieces fit together using light as a key element.
I am blown away, but how on Earth, or I guess on Mars, did they get involved in such a project?
Danpal has always been at the forefront of innovation in light architecture. They're constantly pushing boundaries, experimenting with new materials and technologies.
Right.
And that kind of forward-thinking approach attracts attention.
So it's not just about creating pretty buildings.
Right.
It's about pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Exactly.
Of exploring how we can use light to create more sustainable,
right,
resilient, and even life-sustaining structures.
Exactly. And that's what makes them so fascinating.
Yeah.
They're not just a building materials company.
Right.
They're part of a larger conversation about how we design the spaces we inhabit,
Wow.
whether that's here on Earth or potentially on other planets.
It's like they're weaving together art science and a deep understanding of human needs.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see why they call their catalog the Book of Light.
Right.
It's not just about products.
Exactly.
It's about a whole philosophy of design.
That's a great observation. It is a philosophy, one that's deeply rooted in a belief in the power of light to transform spaces and enhance human well-being.
Yeah.
And it's clear that this philosophy has been shaped by their experiences, their location,
right,
and their unwavering commitment to creating something positive in the world, even amidst adversity.
Okay, I'm officially adding the Book of Light to my reading list.
It's a good one.
But I'm also curious to hear more about how this philosophy translates into real-world projects.
Sure.
We've talked about the Mars habitat and the Jerusalem Zoo.
Yeah.
But what about other examples of their work? What are some of their most notable creations?
Well, one that immediately comes to mind is the Sapphire Ice and Leisure Center in England. They used Danpal panels to create this incredible translucent facade that literally bathes the entire building in natural light.
Wow.
It's a stunning example of how they can transform a seemingly ordinary structure into something truly extraordinary.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I imagine it creates this incredible sense of openness and connection to the outdoors.
It does, and it also plays a key role in energy efficiency.
Right.
Reducing the need for artificial lighting during the day.
Mm-hmm.
But what's really interesting is how they use the Danpal panels to create this subtle interplay of light and shadow, giving the building a dynamic quality that changes throughout the day.
It's like the building itself is responding to the movement of the sun.
Yeah.
I love that idea.
It's beautiful.
But I'm also curious about how they apply their principles to more functional structures.
Okay.
We've talked about leisure centers and zoos, but what about something like a warehouse or a factory?
Yeah.
Can they really bring that same sense of light and beauty to those kinds of spaces?
Absolutely. A great example is the REEF 5 Logistics Center in Israel.
Okay.
It's a massive warehouse complex, and they use Danpal systems to create these incredible skylights that run the entire length of the buildings.
Wow, skylights in a warehouse. It's not something you see every day.
It's not, but it's a brilliant example of how they can bring the benefits of natural light to even the most utilitarian spaces.
Yeah.
Think about the impact that has on the people who work in those buildings. Natural light has been shown to boost mood productivity and even reduce fatigue.
So it's not just about aesthetics. It's about creating a healthier and more enjoyable work environment.
It is.
That's a powerful statement. And it really highlights how Danpal is taking this holistic approach to design.
Yeah.
Considering not just the building itself, but the people who will inhabit it.
You've hit the nail on the head. They understand that buildings are more than just physical structures.
Right.
They're spaces where people live, work, and interact. And by harnessing the power of natural light, they're creating environments that are not only beautiful, but also more sustainable and conducive to human well-being.
It's like they're bringing a little bit of sunshine into every project they touch, both literally and figuratively.
I love that. And I think it speaks to their underlying philosophy that light is not just a source of illumination, but a source of life energy and inspiration.
Beautifully said. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
Danpal's incredible resilience, their innovative products, their stunning projects, their commitment to sustainability, and their inspiring philosophy. But is there anything else that really sets them apart? What's the one thing that someone listening to this should really take away from this deep dive?
I think what really sets them apart is that they're not just talking the talk when it comes to sustainability.
Yeah.
They're walking the walk, and they're doing it in a way that's both beautiful and functional.
Right.
It's not about sacrificing aesthetics for the sake of the environment.
Right.
It's about finding that sweet spot where both can thrive.
And it's not just limited to like grand architectural statements, right?
No.
They're bringing those same principles to everyday buildings like warehouses and even homes.
Exactly. And that's important because it shows that these ideas are scalable. Sustainable design isn't just for the elite or for showcase projects. It can be integrated into the fabric of our built environment at every level.
So what you're saying is that companies like Danpal are kind of like pioneers paving the way for a future where sustainable building is the norm, not the exception.
I think that's a great way to put it. They're pushing the boundaries, experimenting, and demonstrating that it's possible to create beautiful, functional, and environmentally responsible structures. And as they continue to innovate and refine their approach, they're inspiring others to follow suit.
It's like they're setting a new standard for what's possible in architecture, and not just in terms of the buildings themselves,
right,
but in terms of the entire process, from the materials they use to the way they treat their employees.
It all comes back to that idea of holistic design, thinking about the entire life cycle of a building and its impact on the environment and the people who interact with it.
Yeah.
And that's a message that resonates deeply in today's world.
Absolutely. We're facing unprecedented challenges when it comes to climate change and resource depletion, and companies like Danpal are showing us that there's a path forward, a way to build a better future without sacrificing beauty or functionality.
And I think that's ultimately what makes their story so inspiring. It's a story about resilience, innovation, and a deep commitment to creating a more sustainable and beautiful world. It's a story that gives us hope even in the face of adversity.
It's a story that reminds us that even a company based in a small kibbutz in a region that's seen its share of conflict can have a global impact, pushing boundaries and inspiring a new generation of architects and designers. It's a story that shows us that light can truly illuminate the path forward.
And that's something worth celebrating.
Well said. And on that note, I want to encourage everyone listening to check out the show notes for links to Danpal's website and videos you can explore their projects in more depth and get a glimpse into their inspiring vision for the future of architecture.
It's definitely worth a look, and I think you'll come away feeling inspired and hopeful about the possibilities for a brighter, more sustainable future.
Thanks for joining us on this enlightening journey into the world of Danpal. We hope you've gained a new appreciation for the power of light architecture and the impact it can have on our lives and the world around us.
Remember, there's always more to discover. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep looking for those moments of brilliance that illuminate the path forward.
And that's a wrap on our deep dive into Danpal. Until next time, keep shining.